Hi students, today I am going to teach you Lord of the Flies by William Golding in much more detail. And yes, Lord of the Flies was the first novel published by Sir William Golding. By Sir William Golding after a number of years as a teacher and training as a scientist. Yes. Although William Golding had published an anthology of poems nearly 2 decades before writing The Lord of the Flies, this novel was the first extensive narrative work and is informed by his scientific training and academic background also. In many ways, Lord of the Flies is a hypothetical treatment of hypothetical treatment. Lord of the Flies can be considered as a hypothetical treatment of particular scientific concerns of particular scientific concerns. It places a group of young English boys on a deserted island where they must develop their own society. In essence, constructing a sociological experiment in which these boys must develop without any societal influences to shape them, to give them a proper shape. अगर हम सच कहें तो जो शुरुआती चैप्टर्स हैं, the beginning chapters of the novel have the parallel assumptions about the human evolution as the characters discover fire and form levels of political authority. But however, what concerns William Golding is Lord of the Flies is the nature of evil as demonstrated by the boys on that particular island. And he concludes that the evil actions that the boys commit are inherent in human nature, which can only be controlled by the societal mores and rationality, as exemplified by the characters Piggy and Ralph. Understood? Now, although the novel does not adhere to themes particular to one religious tradition, in Lord of the Flies, Golding draws upon a great deal of religious symbolism. He draws upon a great deal of religious symbolism updated to conform to more contemporary ideas of human psychology. The title character, the pig's head that Simon dubs the Lord of the Flies, is a translation of the Hebrew word Beelzebub. कौन सा वर्ड का ट्रांसलेशन है? हिब्रू वर्ड का, दैट इज BAAL, like this. You can write this ZEVUV. The title character, the pig's head that Simon dubs the Lord of the Flies, is a translation of the Hebrew word this, or its Greek equivalent. And what is that Greek equivalent, students? Beelzebub. Beelzebub. Golding के लिए, for Golding, this devil comes from within the human psyche rather than acting as an external force. as implied by Judeo, as implied by, and this is Christian teachings. Christian teachings. Golding employs this religious reference in more Freudian terms. Which terms? Freudian terms. And the devil, that is the Lord of the Flies, represents the Freudian conception of the id. The Freudian conception of the id, the driving immoral force that works solely to ensure its own survival. And the Lord of the Flies directly confronts the most spiritually motivated character of the novel, and that is Simon, who functions as a prophet, martyr for the other boys. Fine. So this was something of the religious concern, symbolism of Lord of the Flies. So I'm trying to take many aspects of this novel. Now I'm going to take Lord of the Flies. Actually is a novel which is deeply, firmly rooted in the socio-political concerns of its era. Socio-political concerns of its era. Now we will try to discuss this portfolio. See, Lord of the Flies is firmly rooted in the socio-political concerns of its era and published during the first decade of the Cold War. First decade of the Cold War, the novel contains obvious parallels to the struggle between liberal democracy and किनके बीच में पैरेलल है? टोटलिटेरियनिज्म, TOTALI, इसको ऐसे लिखिए TOTALI, T, तो देखिए totalitarianism. Again, I am repeating it. Published during the first decade of the Cold War, the novel contains the obvious parallels to the struggle between the liberal democracy and totalitarianism. Ralph represents the liberal tradition. Ralph represents the liberal tradition, while Jack, before he succumbs to total anarchism, can be interpreted as representing the military dictatorship. And उसका जो structure था ना, in its structure as an adventure, the novel further resembles the science fiction genre. What resembles? The science fiction genre that re-emerged as a popular form of literature during the 50s. Fine. So these things are actually very important to understand many basic things about the Lord of the Flies. Now, I will also tell you that William Golding's novel actually remains significant for its depiction of the nature of human society and its musings on the nature of evil. तो मैं यहाँ लिख देता हूँ आपके समझने के लिए, significant for its depiction of the nature of human society. Nature of human depiction of the nature. Depiction of the nature of human society and its musings on the nature of evil. Now here I would like to say that this novel remains significant for its depiction of nature of human society and its musings on the nature of evil, and influenced by the scientific teaching, Freudian psychology, religion, and socio-political concerns, which we have already discussed. Lord of the Flies, like much of the William Golding's work, attempts to account for the evil inherent in human nature.